Hello, friends. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at November 2020, the energies for life path number 8. So, November is a universal 6 energy month. And what that means is, or sort of the words or the energy that we can think of, have to do with community, unity, love, family, health, service, and compassion. And so I feel like we're probably going to have an emphasis collectively really on home, family, and community this month. So it's really important to make sure that you are setting your healthy boundaries, and that includes adhering to the boundaries of others that they've set forth, okay? Understanding that it's okay to say no, and it's okay if someone says no to you. And so just be mindful this month of the difference between being helpful and interference when it comes to others, or when it comes to how others are approaching you. And so what I sort of mean by that is the 6 energy can be very, very loving, very nurturing, very giving energy. But when it's in an extreme, it can almost be very smothering, right? Or if it's on the polar opposite extreme of that, it can be very closed off. So, but really, I feel like what we might see this month is more interference from other people in the attempt to help. And so it's just really important to, again, be mindful of how you're showing up for others and how others are showing up for you. And if boundaries need to be set, healthy boundaries, then it's okay to set those healthy boundaries, to say no, and to create that space for yourself. When 6 energy is in its highest expression, it really recognizes the sense of responsibility we all have for our own well-being, as well as the well-being of others. And so then we have that sense of community really coming in pretty strongly. But again, it's that fine dance of being helpful versus interference. And so just be mindful of that. You know the difference between the two, and you know how it feels when someone is truly trying to help and when you accept that help versus when somebody is trying to interfere, okay? And when you've said no and then boundaries are crossed. And so there's the potential for some, I guess, frustration or animosity or whatever to come up this month when it comes to home and family and a community, but really home and family and how it may feel like they are trying to influence or manipulate or, again, interfere with your circumstances. So just be aware of that and understand that the intentions aren't necessarily ill-willed. It's just that we're in this heavy 6 energy universally, collectively. And so there's going to be that push from people to want to do for others, even when others haven't asked for that assistance or accepted that assistance. So just be aware of that as we move through the month. So I've broken down November for you 8 into 4 weeks. And the very first week of November is this really beautiful energy of sort of a new start, new beginnings, exciting new beginnings, freedom to explore, and again, that sort of creative self-expression, but like the world is your oyster in a sense, right? And I feel like this is body, mind, and spirit. I don't feel like it's just in the physical, like actually traveling somewhere. I feel like this is major expansiveness of the mind, of the spirit, and just feeling like you've sort of left behind the things that you need to leave behind, and now you're starting fresh. It's kind of like if you're a kid and you're playing with Play-Doh and you just take it out of the can and you can create whatever you want to create, right? It's like your imagination is unlimited at this point. And so it's kind of like that's the energy coming in this first week, is this beautiful, expansive energy of you get to decide now what you create and the direction that you take. So the world is your oyster. And then we move into the second week of November, and there's this energy of being called to truly recognize and feel the emotions that come up for you this week. It's kind of like you're in this new territory and you're still trying to find your footing and you're still working through things that are coming up for you. And so it's kind of like you're juggling a million different things, but both physical and ethereal. And so it's kind of like external and internal. And so it's this opportunity the second week to, again, be aware and recognize, acknowledge the feelings and emotions that come up for you, even if it's messy, even if it, is outside of the structured, organized reality that sometimes aids like to create, right? So just allow the emotions to come in, allow the feelings to come in, and just face them as they come up. It's almost like this week you're going to be challenged and challenged is a strong word. So you're just going to have the opportunities, let's put it that way. You're going to have the opportunity to find the calm within the chaos. And so it's almost like this opportunity to flex that muscle of emotional mastery. And again, when we speak about mastering your emotions, it's not about avoidance, it's not about suppression, it's about not allowing those emotions to own you, to control you, or define who you are, but to allow them to surface, allow them to be felt and move through, and then transmuted and released. And so it's almost like a partnership with your own emotions, right? Because we are energetic beings and emotions are energy and we are meant to feel them all. But we're also meant to be able to harness them and to use them for our own purpose, right? So again, it's like this emotional mastery energy. And so where in the past something may have come up for you and you would react, now you have the opportunity or the awareness and the emotional maturity to pause and you get to decide how you're going to respond. And so you may see opportunities come in this week that will sort of test you and see, how will you handle these situations that in the past would have been emotional hotspots for you, but now you have the tools to be able to move through them in a much more masterful way. And so again, it's really going to be this week about finding your center when the rest of the world feels a little topsy-turvy, okay? So when the external feels like, a raging sea, you have your center, you have the calm within. And again, it's not about avoidance. It's about recognizing what comes up for you and acknowledging it. And I made a post recently, and I really do stand behind this. It's about sometimes it's not about over-analyzing the feelings, like figuring out the why. Because sometimes we just don't know why we feel some way, right? Sometimes things just pop up for us, and it could be that we're experiencing the collective's energy. It could be that we're experiencing a friend or a partner's energy, or one of our furry pets' energies, right? Like it just depends. And so these emotions can come up and we can feel that grief, that sadness, that frustration, that anger from the collective. And it's not ours to decipher or figure out where it's coming from. It's just simply that it's an energy and it's come into our energetic field, and we're meant to feel it and experience it and move through it without necessarily having to know the why. And so sometimes it's not about the over-analyzing as much as it is about the awareness and the acknowledgement of how you feel. So sometimes if you feel angry, then simply acknowledge that. Say, I feel angry. You don't always have to know the why. Sometimes it's just a matter of being like, okay, what am I feeling? Okay, this is how I feel. Now I have the awareness, so I can move through this feeling. I can move through this emotion. And I don't always have to react, or I don't always have to overanalyze it, or, that's really what's coming in this second week of November is the opportunity or the opportunities to continuously find your center amidst the chaos, okay? And where in the past you may have become part of the chaos, this is your opportunity to, again, center yourself, find your balance, find your equilibrium, feel through whatever's coming up for you, and find that emotional mastery from within. So, really powerful. The very beginning of the week just feels very like a lot of self-reflection, a lot of emotional experience, I guess. And so it can be very physical too, but there's definitely this layer of finding your own freedom and way to move through the world the way that you want to move through the world, and then mastering that emotional stuff that comes up for you as well. And then we move into the third week of November, and there's this feeling of being at a sort of a crossroads, or needing to make a very decisive decision, like it's either a yes or it's a no. And if it's not a yes, then it's a no. You know what I mean? It's like very distinctive, very decisive. And what they're sort of showing me is that this is not going to be something where you're going to have the full story in the external. And so there's a lot of ambiguity in this. And so you really need to go from within to make that final decision. Of course, you can utilize the resources on the external, use them to your advantage. But when it comes to making the final decision of whatever this is, that final decision needs to come from you. Because remember, we have this 6 universal energy this month where it can be others trying to sort of influence or manipulate. I hate to use the word manipulate because that sounds very vengeful, and I don't get that sense. 6 energy is they have your best interest at heart, but sometimes that can come through as, again, interference. And so there's going to be this opportunity where the external may be trying to influence a decision that you're going to make, and it can feel a little overwhelming because you want to please the external, family, home, because remember, 6 energy, home, family, community. But the call is really going to be to go within and look at your own authenticity, look at your own truth, and which direction is your inner knowing telling you to move into, because that's the one you need to listen to, not the external noise. And so this could be really a pivotal point for 8s, and this decision could really excel you forward or push you forward in a way that is beneficial. It's not going to be without some pushback from those who feel that you should be doing things differently. And so that feels a little heavy, but you have everything you need to be able to overcome that. You just need to stand firm in your own knowing and your own truth and move forward from that space, okay? So as we move into the 4th week of November, I do feel like there's this energy of a little bit of sort of backlash from whatever that decision was, whatever choice you made. And again, because that energy is home, family, community, you may be feeling it from the external, but at the same time, it almost feels like overthinking it as well, like you are creating the disturbance from within, and the other people, maybe they've given you their opinion and you didn't take that advice or that opinion, and they've moved on, but you're still stuck in that, I wonder if I should have done whatever they said to do, even though it goes against what I believe is true. And so there's a little bit of that chaotic energy at the end of the month for 8s, and it's just, again, about finding your own balance and your own harmony. So go back to the tools that you found the second week of November, finding your center and amidst the chaos and your own calm within the storm, and utilize those tools at the end of November when you kind of feel that chaotic energy surfacing again. And I do feel like this could be, depending on how it comes in for you, but it can be very internal, where, you think the external is thinking something or judging you or whatever, but in reality, they're dealing with their own stuff. And so it was kind of like for them, it was like, hey, you should do this. And then you didn't, and maybe they were upset, but they moved on, and you're still kind of stuck in that energy of, should I have done this way or their way? When in the reality is, if you follow your own inner compass this month, if you follow your own inner knowing, then you are making the right decision for you in this moment. And so you need to continue to keep that sort of vision as you're making your decisions this month. So interesting energy. A lot of it feels very internal, like again, some more, deep diving into the inner depths of your own soul and the things that you sort of need to work through. But there's also that element of the physical as well. And I do feel like, a big energy of eights is in this lifetime is to reclaim your power over those who have had power over you, or who you have presumed had power over you, right? Like you felt like they had power over you. And so this energy this month, you could see those tests and challenges coming in around that, where your family, your home, your community are trying to influence your direction when you know the direction you need to go. And so it's like, what are you going to do in this situation? Are you going to follow your own inner knowing, your soul's calling, or are you going to succumb to that pressure of the external, however that comes in? Okay. And again, it's not like it's being done out of vengeance or anything like that. It's they have your best interest at heart, but they don't know your journey. They don't know your truth. Only you know that. And so again, this month, you're going to probably find that you're going to be tested to see, are you at the place now and in the space where you can follow your own truth, regardless of who it upsets, regardless of, the turmoil that it creates, because that's not your issue. That's the external's problem, right? So anyway, so I pulled a animal spirit card just to see the overall sort of overarching energy of the month specifically for eights. And you guys got emu spirit. And emu says, this is a good time to go on a new adventure, which is so much fun. And it brings us back to that first week of November, where you really have this new energy, this new beginning, this clean slate to create what you want to create, to do what you want to do. It's like, again, the world is your oyster and you get to decide. And so this is a good time to go on a new adventure, but this could be, again, body, mind, spirit. And so I really feel like this month is going to be about coming back to your core, coming back to your center, and allowing yourself the freedom of expression, allowing yourself the freedom to create what you want to create, what feels good for you. Not the way it's always been done, not based on the influence of home, family, or community, coming from a space that will hopefully benefit home, family, and community, but doing what feels authentic to you and feels right for you at your core, okay? And to see the adventure in it and to see the potential of it. So again, this is a good time to go on a new adventure. So anything that comes up for you this month, maybe see it that way. Don't see it as don't kind of look at it from such a sort of physical, pragmatic, very structured way. Look at it as a new opportunity, a new adventure to do something different, to do something in a way you haven't done it before. And to give yourself permission to be okay with that freedom when others don't understand it, okay? So however it comes in for you, but this is sort of the energies for the month that I'm seeing. And it's how you harness this energy, it's how you work through this energy, and it's how you choose to incorporate it within your life, right? So I hope that it's a beautiful month for you, eights. And until we meet again, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.